Okay, so we're talking about one of the most famous diamonds in the entire world. I mean, it's a centerpiece of the British crown jewels, right? Just known for its unbelievable beauty. But here's the thing. Behind all that sparkle, there's this really dark history of conquest, betrayal, and, yeah, death. This is the story of the Koh-i-Noor, a gem that supposedly promises the world to whoever owns it, but at a terrible, terrible cost.
There's this legend, right? It's said to come from an ancient Hindu text, and it's been following this diamond around for centuries. It's basically a prophecy, and it seems to come true with this unnerving pattern throughout history. The legend says that for pretty much every king who's claimed the Koh-i-Noor, a shadow of misfortune has followed. And this isn't just some old story. This very legend has shaped its incredibly violent journey and even dictates how it's worn today.
So, what's the real story here? Is this thing just a priceless piece of history? Or is it genuinely a cursed object that leaves this trail of collapsed empires and dead rulers wherever it goes? You know what? Let's trace its path and you can decide for yourself.
All right, let's start at the very beginning. And our story doesn't begin in some fancy palace. Nope, it starts deep inside the earth, in the legendary diamond mines of ancient India. This is the birthplace of the Mountain of Light.
So if you look at the history books and the geology, everything points to the Golconda region. And you have to understand, for centuries, this was pretty much the only place in the world where you could find diamonds. And the very first people we know for sure owned this incredible stone were the rulers of the Kakatiya dynasty.
Whoa, just look at that number. 793 carats. In its original uncut form, that's how big it was. To give you an idea of what that means, that's over 158 grams. That's like a billiard ball made of pure diamond. It was absolutely unrivaled, a true mountain of a diamond, literally.
Okay, so here's where the whole curse legend really kicks off. The story goes that the Kakatiya rulers, as an act of devotion, put the diamond into a statue of their goddess, Bhadrapali, as her left eye. And according to local lore, that act tied the diamond to a divine power, a power that decreed only God or a woman could wear it without facing some serious consequences. And what happens next? Well, shortly after, the Kakatiya dynasty was overthrown. It really looked like the curse had just claimed its very first victim.
And from that moment on, things get bloody. The diamond story completely changes. It's not a symbol of devotion anymore. Now it's the ultimate prize for conquerors, and it gets passed from one fallen empire to the next, over and over again.
You can just see its path carving through history, this whirlwind of power and ruin. So after the Kakatiyas, it's seized by the Delhi Sultanate. And, yep, their dynasty collapses. Then it falls into the hands of Babur, the founder of the Mughal Empire, and his son gets forced into exile. Next up, 1739, the Persian invader Nader Shah loots it from Delhi. He gets assassinated not long after. The gem gets taken to Afghanistan, where the Durrani Empire holds it, and they crumble into a civil war. I mean, are you seeing the pattern here? Every single time it changes hands, it's marked by bloodshed and total chaos.
And what's crazy is that the diamond didn't even get its famous name until the 1700s. The story is actually pretty cool. So this guy, Nader Shah, gets the diamond by tricking the Mughal ruler. He suggests they swap turbans as a sign of friendship, knowing full well the gem was hidden inside. When he unwraps it and this massive diamond tumbles out, he's so blown away he just shouts Koh-i-Noor, which means Mountain of Light. And, well, the name stuck.
All right, so the diamond eventually makes its way back to India, this time landing with the powerful Sikh Empire. But this would be its last chapter on the subcontinent, because it was about to start its most controversial journey yet, all the way to Britain.
So the powerful Maharaja Ranjit Singh dies, and it's like the curse just came back with a vengeance. I mean, his successors started dropping like flies. It's terrifyingly fast. His son, poisoned. His grandson, crushed by a falling archway on the same day. Another son, assassinated. This complete and rapid collapse just plunged the Sikh Empire into chaos, creating a power vacuum that, you guessed it, the British were more than happy to fill.
So how did Britain officially get the diamond? Through something called the Treaty of Lahore. But let's be real, this wasn't really a negotiation. It was more like a demand. Get this, a 10-year-old boy, the Maharaja Duleep Singh, was forced to gift the Koh-i-Noor to Queen Victoria. And that piece of paper is still the legal basis for Britain's claim today. But for a whole lot of people, it's just a glaring symbol of colonial strong-arming.
You'd think the drama would stop there, but no. Even the journey to England felt cursed. The ship carrying it, the HMS Medea, had a deadly cholera outbreak. Then it got hammered by this insane storm that almost sank the whole thing.
And then, and this is wild, on the very day the diamond finally arrives in London, an attacker assaults Queen Victoria, leaving her with a black eye and a head wound. What a welcome gift, right?
So by the time it gets to Britain, the Koh-i-Noor had already been cut down a lot from its original mind-blowing size. It was now weighing in around 186 carats. But funny enough, the British public, and more importantly Prince Albert, well, they just weren't that impressed. They thought the cut was kind of dull and lackluster.
So what does Prince Albert do? He orders it to be recut. Now, this was a huge deal. This move chopped its size down by nearly 43% to the 105.6 carats it is today. The whole point was to make it sparkle more, in that European style. But in the process, a massive chunk of its original size and really its history was just gone, forever. Okay, so fast forward to today. The Koh-i-Noor is sitting in the Tower of London, but its story is nowhere near over. It's become this really powerful symbol at the center of a huge global debate about colonialism, who owns history, and whether cultural treasures should be returned. And when you look at who thinks they own it, it's staggering. We're talking about 4 different countries that have all laid claim to the diamond. You've got India, because it was mined there. It's the land of origin. You have Pakistan, because the treaty giving it away was signed in Lahore, which is now their capital. And then you have both Afghanistan and Iran, because their empires owned it at really important points in its history. Every claim is basically tied to a different, bloody chapter of the diamond's past.
Really, this whole debate boils down to 2 positions that just can't be squared. On one side, you have the UK. They argue that the Treaty of Lahore makes their ownership legal, plain and simple. They also worry that returning it would set a precedent that could, empty out museums across the West. But the other countries, they see it completely differently. To them, it's a stolen artifact. It's a painful symbol of colonial theft that absolutely must be returned to where it belongs. And here's a really interesting twist. It seems the British royal family itself takes that ancient legend pretty seriously. Since the diamond arrived in Britain, there's been a rule. The Koh-i-Noor can only be worn by a queen consort, so the wife of a king. No reigning king on the British throne has ever worn it. It's a clear nod to that old superstition that only a woman can wear it safely.
So in the end, the Koh-i-Noor is so much more than just a diamond, isn't it? It's like a mirror, reflecting back centuries of empire, of power, and of pain. It really makes you ask, what does it even mean to own something like this? Does a treasure like this belong to its last conqueror, to the whole world? Or does it maybe only belong to its past? That's the big question that history still hasn't figured out how to answer.